Hey everybody. You know what? That towel behind me is bothering me. I'm just going to leave it there. It's raining. Can you hear it? You may be able to see it. Good morning. Good morning. It is raining again. It certainly is. We bought my mom bought for us because we took in the other cat. So now we have 5 cats and we need more space for them to get outdoors because our house is small. Hi, Natasha Catherine. Yeah, it's very nice. It's just keeping me from putting in my fence. Me too. I just love that part of the South, the rain. I really miss rain in Colorado. It's very dry. So we have this cat-proof fence to put in that my mom got for us so we can increase our space now that we have the five cats. So in a 1-bedroom, 650 square foot house. So, but we can't put the fence in because it's raining. It's raining all the time. So this is fall in the South. This is what it looks like. It lets me know that when the girls are older and I can move to Seattle and be just fine. Okay, so you can't hear me? Darn it. Can you hear me now? I don't want my face to be too ginormous in the camera. Like, some people's face is just like right there. Oh, I was probably mumbling. Yes, and that is really where I want to be. The Pacific Northwest is where I want to be. Okay, I was mumbling. My dad was a mumbler. I picked up his mumbler habit. CaddyshackDesigns.com is where you can find me. My name is Michelle Wolf. Since it's raining, our signal may be crap. I apologize for that. Okay. If I'm freezing a lot, you probably have to watch the replay. It was such a bummer. Oh, there was a call coming in. You're right. Yeah, my daughter again. But by the way, yesterday, the reason she was calling over and over is because she couldn't... Hi, Crystal. She couldn't find the dog's leash. So it was her calling just now, so I think I will wait to call her back. Unless she calls like 3 or 4 times in a row, and then I'll have to check. And Ashlyn's not walking, but she is standing up and sitting down and standing up and sitting down on her own. Yeah, she was like, I couldn't find Grayson's leash. Good morning, Rhonda. No, but she's standing up and sitting down on the floor by herself now. I know, right? They're delayed because they were preemies. So, they're just a little on the outside edge of development. So, anyway. She'll be walking within a few days. Yeah, she will. So, let's talk about... Yeah, the only thing is she's heavy and hard to carry now. Yeah. Right. Yeah, we won't be able to get her to snuggle anymore. So let's talk about A Course in Miracles and the Just World theory. And the reason this came up is because, right. Hi, Tanya. Michelle started a discussion in the Perry Fam Facebook group, which if you're a regular morning group attendee and you want to be part of that, you can email me at caddyshackdesigns@gmail.com and we can get you in there. So it's just like that. caddyshackdesigns@gmail.com if you want in on that group. So there was a discussion in there about evil forces opposing love, and we'll talk about that here in a second. But the reading for November 9th comes from the Holy Shift book by Robert Holden. And now we're alternating. Course in Miracles. Tomorrow we'll be back to the Tao and Byron Katie's book, 1,000 Names for Joy. And then we'll go back to Course in Miracles, and we're going to flip-flop like that. So today's lesson, if you're following along, is in the student workbook, part 2, lesson 313. It says, let us today behold each other in the sight of Christ. You could call it in the sight of love, if that's better. How beautiful we are. That's how we roll. Bitches. We do what we want to do. We do whatever we want. That's what I say. I'll do a little quick Matt Battle sign for you. Let us today behold each other in the sight of Christ. How beautiful we are, how holy and how loving. Brother, come and join with me today. We save the world when we have joined, for in our vision it becomes as holy as the light in us. The other part of that's what was in the Robert Holden book, Holy Shift. So the other part of that in the Course in Miracles giant book is, there is a vision which beholds all things as sinless, so that fear has gone, and where it was is love invited in, and love will come wherever it is asked to come. You have to ask for it. This vision is your gift. In Christ's sight, in love's sight, all sins are forgiven. He sees no sin. Because sin is just, in the Course in Miracles term, sin is just falling away from your connection to Source. When you fall away from your connection to Source, and the things you do when you're in that fallen away place, that's the sinny part. It doesn't mean you're bad, it means you're disconnected. And the person you're interacting with is most likely disconnected too. Right. Yes, we have to ask for it. Because we have free will. You can boil a lot of all this stuff back to free will. Which we want / don't want, depending on the day. We want it for ourselves, but we don't always want it for other people. Let his true perception come to me, that I may waken from the dream of sin and look within upon my sinlessness. If you truly see yourself as sinless, you don't carry around that guilt and shame. You make a mistake, you hurt somebody, you make amends, you do what you can, and you go on. You don't drag it around with you, you don't beat yourself up for it. As long as you see yourself as sinful, as a bad person, air quote bad person, you can't fully let go of guilt and shame unless you forgive your own self for, I'm going to say, innocent mistakes for general people. Some people are purposefully out to harm others, and that's a different discussion. That's none of us here. We don't purposely seek and plan and plot to hurt others. That's like truly antisocial personality disorder people do that. Truly psychopathic people do that. They're very rare. We think there's a lot of people like that because of the media, but actually the true percentage of that population is extremely small. Let us behold each other today in the sight of Christ. How beautiful we are. Is Donald Trump beautiful? Here's where you can get hung up. You can be thinking, yes, we're all one, and this is awesome, and it feels great, and I love. And then here comes Donald Trump. His essence is, yes, he's playing a role. He's playing a role and bringing our attention to a lot of our stories about ourselves, about the world. His population is also a small percentage. Even though the media plays it up and makes it look particularly large, it's actually not. His type of personality, his type of power paradigm is a dying breed, which is why those people who think like that are squawking so loud. They know that the women and the minorities are outrunning them. And the people that don't, I don't want to be one with Donald because he is ugly. He displays very ugly characteristics. And what is with the hair? I mean, we can go on about the hair all day. He's really gross, right? So he displays for us, like, what can you think that he might display for us to bring attention to within ourselves? I mean, we can use him as a gold mine of information. Marianne, for president. She tried to run for Congress and it didn't go very well. I don't think she had great campaign managers. She probably needs a whole nother set. Marianne Williamson is who she's talking about. Okay, so I'm going to tell you, racism of any kind of otherness we feel is what himself displays to us. The times we feel ugly, yes. The times we want to impose our will on other people. There's a documentary out there about Donald Trump in this place in Scotland. Arrogance, greed, intolerance. We all have those. We all have those. And we own them or we reject them depending on who we are and where we're at in our life. As long as we're rejecting them, we're going to see them in other people. Unworthiness, yes. So, when we want to impose our will on others, regardless of what they want, because we think we know what's best. How many times a day do we do that in our thoughts or our actions? We think we know what's best, so we attempt to plop that onto other people without ever asking them if they want it. The time wasn't right for her yet, even though it wasn't that long ago. Yeah, it was the last election. Hopefully she'll regroup and try again. So, when I worked in the sex assault field, which was just not even a year ago, I worked in it for 4 years. And then I worked with in the criminal justice system for many, many years before that. Since in 1996 was when I first started working, always connected in some way to law enforcement and criminal justice, courtrooms and things of that sort, investigation and whatnot. When you're dealing with sexual assault, it was. Because here's why. And this applies to a lot of different things. So just think about this. The worst person to have on a jury for a sexual assault trial, who do you think that would be? The person you do not want in your jury pool. Who do you think would not be wanted in a jury of your peers if you have been sexually assaulted? Boy, my nose is itchy. Who do you think? We have a lag. Are you thinking? A woman. A woman. Any female and not that has not been sexually assaulted. No. No, it's not a woman who's been sexually assaulted. It's a woman who hasn't been sexually assaulted. And here's why. And we do this all over the place. No, it's a woman. You do not want a woman who has not been sexually assaulted in your jury pool. Here's why. This is fascinating and not fascinating. Yeah. Women are the harshest judges of other women. And we function in a mindset, it's called the just world theory. Just thinking just as in justice. She does not want to see herself in that assaulted woman. If it could happen to her, it could happen to me. And so I have to find a way to blame her so that I don't have to be so scared about the randomness of life. So the just world theory says that if you get hurt, and this is rampant in our criminal justice system, it explains why victims get treated like dogs in the street sometimes. Our just world theory says that if you do something bad, you deserved it. If something bad happens to you, if something bad happens to you, you must have deserved it. Yeah, the just world theory. That you must have done something to trigger that person's abuse. You deserve it or you brought it on yourself. Same thing with domestic violence. Same thing with robbery victims. It's a very rare crime where the victim is not blamed to a certain extent. People who do that are not bad people. They're scared people. when I think that anyone, there's no, you're welcome. When I think and I understand that anybody can be raped, we'll get to that. We'll get to that. When anybody can be raped at any time, regardless of what they're doing, regardless of what they're wearing, regardless of their gender, because men get raped at a very high percentage, but they don't come forward. A very tiny, small percentage actually come forward. And when they do come forward, they tend to be treated so badly. It's human nature and fear, including kids. Yes, absolutely, including children. When we think that the world is fair, and if something bad happens to us, we must have deserved it, that's twisted thinking, and then it enables perpetrators to walk away. The sexual assault statistics and stories are horrendous. They're getting better. I was a part of 2 major projects that are working very hard to get it better. Oregon is about the best place you can live right now if you're going to be sexually assaulted. We worked very closely with Oregon a year ago in implementing a program they have called You Have Options that started in Ashland, Oregon, and now, because of its great success, is statewide and is slowly becoming nationwide. So don't let this, Oregon's got a lot going for it. Don't let this make you think that the story is hopeless. The situation's not hopeless. So when you think about perpetrators and victims in terms of law of attraction, it can get really tricky because we also will use law of attraction to blame the victim. Well, you must have been thinking or doing or in matching that energy or whatever, and maybe they were. However, it's not an excuse to say you brought it on yourself, so tough shit, we're not going to do anything about it. We still work to do things about it. If you are, they've done research where, and I don't know how valid the research is, could be an experience to grow from, because a lot of victims take what happened to them and turn it into something truly powerful. We just don't know all the answers to that. Here's the thing, though. What we can do is hold people accountable. We can do it without anger. We can do it without judgment. There are very basic rules in our human world that are there for protection. If we spent more time, we can do it without blame and shame. Here's the thing. We are, as a collective, living together. We have some rules for behavior. You broke those rules. You have to make amends if possible, and you have to be set in a timeout, kind of. And if you're so incredibly dangerous, then you don't get to come out of timeout. I'm simplifying and generalizing this to a ridiculous level. Radical forgiveness, reading now, accountability is part of our human experience. So we talked yesterday about how sometimes you have to stop people from hurting others or you to help them. So in those terms, so people will say, well, how can Buddhists go to war? Because sometimes the kinder thing to do is to stop an evil, not for the person being harmed by it, but for the person doing the harming. That's a mental gear shift that can be difficult to wrap your head around. Yes, when you have a sexually abused child client that then molests another child, the umbrella, yes, you quickly learn a different way to see those situations. And it's not an easy process to go through, and it will open your heart in ways that are extremely painful sometimes. And it completely changes how you view the world. Because what do we do with child molesters? We hate them. We hate them. Right. We demonize them. We hate them. I'm not saying that please don't hear me saying how you should or shouldn't feel. I'm talking in generalities and ridiculous simplifications at the moment. But what I'm saying is there are different ways to see these things. So what I had said in our Facebook group this morning is there's no deservedness and there's no earn. I would say that even hating the sin is limiting to us. I think that's where we put our focus. The wounded and the hurting hurt. And we do need to hold them accountable, but we can do it without blame. We can do it without shaming them so badly that they can never come back. If you shame a person bad enough, they can't come back. Restorative justice is the concept that has you restore the person. Yeah, Tanya. It has you do justice in a way that restores the person's ability to come back home, so to speak. If you put a child in timeout long enough and you leave them alone and they can't hear you or see you, that's a very shaming, abandoning thing. If you're using timeout with children, I don't believe it. I don't believe in karmic paths as in paying, and this is just my opinion. I know a lot of people do, and there's nothing wrong with either viewpoint. Just don't hate at all, just love. I don't think that we pay. I think that's a human construct and I think it goes back to that just world theory. If you do something bad's going to happen to you. Not always. Isn't something bad already happening to you? If you're running around hurting people and killing animals and raping people, isn't something bad already happening? Aren't you already in hell? Aren't you already incurring the negative consequences? Radical Forgiveness is a good book. Radical Acceptance by Tara Brach is also a good book. So, it's an awful way to live. It's an awful way to live. So we talked this morning about people who are super rich. Yeah. And doing evil things with their money. And we know there's lots of people like that. But the thing is the Donald Trumps of the world and the mob bosses of the world don't see themselves as wrong. They don't see themselves as bad. They see us as stupid. They see us as sheeple who don't know what's good for them. So they need to take over and give us what's good for us. It's a very paternalistic point of view. It's a very masculine, Daddy's going to come and fix it point of view. Hitler thought the same thing. Hitler thought everybody was stupid. Rain falls on the just and the unjust. Yeah, in the Facebook group I said the sun shines on saint and sinner alike. You're either connected to God or you're not. If you're not connected, you are miserable. You're miserable. People who fight and scrap and kill for money, if there is karma, love neutralizes. If no karma, the same, love. You can bring it all back to that one single word, and that's love. Whatever you label the force of love is the answer for every question. Every question. That's what A Course in Miracles says. As we dig further into the Tao, it's the same. You're either walking the way or you're not. You're either in alignment with the universal principles or you're not. It's the only place where there's an either or that seems to me to be pretty discreet and unchangeable. You're either in line with it or you're not. If you have things in your life that aren't flowing, somewhere you're out of alignment. I say that for myself too. Really wrestling with concepts of money. I'm also rereading the book, The Law of Divine Compensation by Marianne Williamson. I read it a long time ago, but now that we've been working through A Course in Miracles, I'm going back to read it and to try and see it in a different way. we also can't pick and choose. We can't say in one section of our life I'm going to be loving, but in this other section I'm going to push against. I love you too, Tanya. We have a good group. So today's reading says, let us behold each other through the eyes of love. It's easier said than done. What about child molesters? What about kitten killers? The people, I can love a child molester faster than I can love a kitten killer. I'm so sensitive I can't even read the headlines about that stuff. Duh. We wake up, we fall asleep. We wake up, we fall asleep. There's no shame in that. There's no guilt in that. There's no sin in that. We're either connected to Source or we're not. And if we're not horrible people. And if we shame people and make it impossible for them to come back home, that's when they really push against us. That's when they really become monsters, because they've been shut out of love. Ebb and flow. Yes, the waves come in, the waves go out. When the waves are going out, we don't tell them that they're horrible waves. We just wait for the wave to come back in. Yes, it does, Crystal. Love heals all. And if you're not following Crystal, do, because she has the most beautiful yard. Shame is the most destructive. Shame will destroy you. Shame will destroy you and everything around you. Ask. Ask for love. If you're out of alignment, ask to be in alignment. If you recognize that you're off kilter and you know you're off kilter when you feel bad, ask for help feeling that love. Ask for help staying in alignment longer. That help is available. Because what happens? Here's how the help shows up. You get guided to Periscope. You're asking for help. You get guided to the right book at the right time. You're asking for help and you run across the right person who can help you up. And that may be the only time you're interacting with that person. They may come into your life, help you out, and disappear. The help comes through other people or through the creations of other people. Because that's how God moves in the world. That's how the Source can reach us in our physical bodies. We have to reach through each other. We use each other's hands to answer prayers. It's just ask. Yeah, if you just ask, you will just do it. And you'll know exactly what to do and when. And if you feel confused about making a decision, if you feel tangled up, I ask to see things through the eyes of love and God. Things always shift, yes. And sometimes, Crystal, I'm sure you know, sometimes before you're at the end of that question, you hear an answer. The other day, it happens to me a lot now. The minute I start to formulate a question, I hear the answer before I even have the question formulated. Yeah, when you get used to asking all the time, sometimes I don't like the answer that I hear. Sometimes I don't like hearing that my body doesn't function well with a pint of coffee Haagen-Dazs. I don't feel very good the next day. That's just natural cause and effect. I don't need to beat myself up for it. If I beat myself up for it, I'm going to do it again. If I go, oh, I don't really feel very good now, so I probably won't do that again for a while. And I don't say, I'm never going to do that again, because that's just asking for trouble. But coffee ice cream is delicious. And coffee is delicious. So any kind of coffee delivery system is delicious. Make a meme out of that. Put it on a sunset background. Any kind of coffee delivery system is delicious. You forgave yourself for eating a Pop-Tart right before this scope. It's huge. It's 20 ounces. I forgive myself for eating it. It's so cold out here. Yeah, it's 20 ounces. Starbucks doesn't even make these anymore. And I treasure this one, and I will baby it, and I get furious if my husband uses it because they don't make them anymore. And it's so cold out here, I didn't want my coffee to get cold in my little caddy shack. Ah, darn it, Rhonda. We're not going to be on here much longer anyway because it's cold out here. It's 20. Yeah. Yeah, they do. 20 ounces. That's right. What is that? Almost 3 cups of coffee. Not quite 3 if you're doing an 8-ounce cup. You want to throw it. I don't blame you, Rhonda. My phone makes me mad. Which, by the way, it still hasn't updated to the Periscope version 1.3 where you can fast forward and rewind. My husband's has. My sister's has. My phone will not update. They tell me it's coming. I don't know if I believe it. Yay! Okay. So, when you catch yourself thinking in terms of dessert... Oh, yours has neither? Well, good. I don't feel so bad. Thanks, Android Note. Oh, you have a Galaxy Note? Maybe the notes are coming later. Did a million times. Reset my phone. It's the app. The Periscope people said the apps update at different times based on the carrier and the type of phone you have. I have a Galaxy Note 4. It is not updated yet. My husband has a Galaxy S, and his is already updated. And he has a Galaxy S3, I think. He won't ever let me upgrade his phones until the phone he has breaks. iPhone. Oh. Yeah, I want the replay too. Hi, Kim. Yeah. Yes, I want the replay. I mean the rewind, sorry. What happened to your hand, Janet? Did I miss something the other day? Hi, Kim! Okay. When you catch yourself thinking in the just world terms, back it up. Oh, that's a good idea. When he's home, back it up and remind yourself that our human justice... Oh, carpal tunnel surgery. Ooh. Well, hopefully it gets better soon. Our human concept of justice, yes it is not the same as the impersonal love that loves everyone. It's impersonal because it loves everyone. That energy is available for everyone. Oh, Catherine answered it that you had carpal... I didn't know what you had done to your hand. But Catherine said you had carpal tunnel surgery. So we don't want love to love the crappy people, but it does. Donald Trump is just as loved as we are. You did? What happened? If you care to share. People do bad things to us, and they're still equally as loved as we are. Burning. That healing process is hard. Surgical stuff. If you do homeopathy, hypericum, and then is good for surgery, and then because it's nerve pain, and then there's one for the surgical incision. It starts with an S. ST. I'm no help on that one. ST something for the surgical incision itself. Can't remember. Just World Theory says that the person doing the bad thing shouldn't be loved as much as the person who got the bad thing done to them. Asked to be unconditionally loving and met someone who wasn't, but I still had to be. Yeah, that's not fair. Is asking why someone has what we want deserving or not, just not productive? Yeah, Helen Crisium. I'm glad Grace loves them because sometimes I struggle too. Yes, our human self struggles too. It's not productive to ask if people deserve it or not because they're not your source. Source is your source. So if you spend time worrying about, I could. I could. Yep. I think there's a variety of them. Well, today's Monday. I guess we could do it today. Everyone deserves it. Actually, the crappy person needs it. Probably more than you do. When you're thinking about or being resentful of someone who has something that you don't and worrying about whether they deserve it or not, you're out of alignment. You're off kilter. You're disconnected. You're not hooked up with Source, because if you were, it's only our opinion if we think they don't deserve it. Right. They think they deserve it. And there is no deserving. We get love, and we can do with it what we want. The harder it is to give, the more likely they need it. Yeah. The people that we struggle to love, the people that we struggle to, yeah. Yes, it's a judgment. And it disconnects you from your own source. The people we struggle to love need love the most. Hurting people hurt other people, like Cynthia said earlier. Even children. Abused children will abuse other children in foster care. And what are you going to do? Hate them? They're 7 and they've been sexually abused. So then they sexually abuse the people around them. You can't hate them. If you hate them, they're lost. Yeah, that'd be great. Crystal, if you want, in that Facebook group where we talk about some of these after scope things that Michelle created, let me know. Just email me or find me on Facebook. Michelle Wolf with 2 F's is my Facebook page. Yeah, I'd love to hear your story. We like telling. We like storytelling. It's making sense. You're either connected to love or you're not. You're connected to God or you're not. And everything that comes from those choices. Other people are not your source. Your job's not your source. Your paycheck's not your source. Yes, thank you very much, Michelle Lee. Someone having what you want that you don't have doesn't mean that you can't have it also. And the more disconnected you are focusing on them and their activities, you're slowing down. Yes, the cabin should be ready soon, within the next... It'll be ready by spring, let's say that. We could totally have a meetup. There's plenty of room for camping. There's a big giant deck to throw sleeping bags or cots on. Sure there is, if you don't mind rustic. The cabin will have a bed in it and a couch and whatnot. The house has a couch. The porch has, if it's summer, then the porch has room for cots and sleeping bags and camp cots, like camping. Yeah, if you want to camp, yeah. I live in a cabin. I live in a magical cabin in the woods. It's 650 square foot. So it's 1 bedroom, 1 main room. That's a combination living room, dining room, 1 kitchen. It's all open floor plan. 1 bathroom. Yeah, I could. Sometimes I can't get signal out in the yard, is the problem. There's another one, too. Oh, no. Tanya, I said that's my dream, is to have a retreat center, a place where we can have meetups and do cool stuff. Do medicine wheels and despacho ceremonies and talk in person how we talk here. Yeah, there's lots of togetherness. I don't mind it. It helps us not collect a bunch of junk. Yeah, there's another cabin here. I'll turn it. I can't turn the camera, but right out here is, oh, the cat thing's in the way. Let me stand up. There it is. So that little cabin's being remodeled on the inside. It's 2 stories. It'll have a queen-size bed in it, and room, and a couch and stuff. So you could put 3 or 4 people in there. It'll have a little bathroom and a tiny little kitchenette. It's 12 by 12 on each floor. Oh, yeah, there's like open space forever for tents. Like if you like tent camping, and you know, Heidi, I'm really glad you brought that up. I'll give you the view over here. See all that open space? And the creek is behind the little cabin that I just showed you. Yeah, you can tent camp. So, oh, it's really cute. It's a cute cabin. We could definitely do that. Atlanta's not a hard airport to get in and out of either. Heidi, that gave me a really good idea, because yeah, we have a porch swing, and then under that weird little shed thing out there by the cabin, there's another porch swing, another swing. We could do that in the summer, or before it gets too damn hot, maybe April or May. We could do a meetup out here if the people don't mind being cozy. So there's the room for sleeping bags and room for tents, and the cabin hopefully will be done. I'm really glad you did, because I hadn't even thought about tent camping. You can even put a tent right out there by the stream, listen to the stream all night. Yeah, you could drive there. Tanya's within driving distance too. Well, I don't see why we couldn't do that. I've talked to my mom about that, because we talked about having retreat stuff. And I hadn't thought about tent camping at all. We had 10 acres of land here. If you wanted to go up behind us and camp in the forest, you could. You could go that way or that way. Our 10-acre strip is like a long rectangle, and the access road cuts through it. But there's 7 acres on this side where the houses are, and there's another 3 acres right up behind us. It takes a village. We can't all just one person think of everything. I certainly can't. Let me think on that. My husband would really like that too. He's a very social person. Oh, it's gorgeous. It's gorgeous. I don't think it's as pretty as Idaho, though. We do. We garden. Yeah, we had one. Those are like glamping tents. Those are the big, big, giant ones. Well, you can bring your tent and hide here. I'd like to have the cabin where we can rent it out for short rentals. Like an Airbnb thing, but only with people we know. Because we don't want, cat haters. Anyway, so yeah, think about that. Look at everyone through the eyes of love today and see how far you get before you hit that point where you're like, ugh. Ugh. Yeah, not everybody's into tents. No freaks or trolls. Nope. Rustic already narrows down the people who come. Deciduous. Oh yeah, they're different. Yeah, deciduous. I know what you mean. The trees are different. The trees are different than Colorado too. When I went to Seattle, what I really liked about the Washington area was the difference in the trees, the shape of them and the look of them, because I love trees. I truly am a tree hugger. So anyway, move through the day today and practice loving. We have electricity. There's electricity. Well, not in the tent, but the cabin's got electricity and water. And the house does. Practice on Donald. Yes! Oh, yeah, we can run an extension cord. There's also a tiny little 1950s camper that has extension cords. Has a little bed in it and power. use Donald Trump and people who are blowhards and people out there saying the stupidest things. Yeah, I actually will let anybody inside. It just depends on how cozy you want to be. If you want to like have a kid camp experience where everyone's crammed all in together, that's fine. You're allowed indoors. It's all about your level of comfort. I can take that cozy stuff for a couple of days, maybe a weekend, and then everybody has to get out. Yeah, slumber party, Jana. That's the word I was looking for. A slumber party where you're all just jammed in together in your sleeping bags. This deck behind me though is 28 feet long. No, it'll have a bathroom. It'll have a real toilet. The cabin will have a real toilet. Yeah, I do too. I can take cozy for a while, but not forever. But the cat, you know those camping cots that are up off the ground that you put your sleeping bag on? There's 28 feet of deck here, and on the other side, there's another big stretch of deck, the new deck. It's not roofed. It doesn't have a roof over it, though. Yeah, like puppies, right? Smashed in like puppies. This one has a roof, obviously, you can see it, so. And there's 5 cats, too, so if you have allergies, bring a pill. Bring several pills. But, yeah, let me think about that. I don't see why there's any reason we couldn't do that in May, because I'll need a few months to get it together and think about what we want to do. And the twins will be 2 by then. Gosh, so quick. Okay, well, I'm just rambling, and I probably should go do actual work-related things. I should probably write that book. It's not getting written. Now let a new perception come to me. That's just a different way of saying, how can I see this differently? Yeah, it's a great day. Tanya shared a guy reading a Pablo Neruda poem at the seashore today. That was really pretty. Love you, love you. Gotta take kids to school. Be gentle with yourself, HJ. Yes, you're welcome. Now let a new perception come to me. Let me see this differently. Let me see the world differently. Yeah, I got the actual book so I could use it on Periscope. Oh, good. I guess you guys can disconnect if it's boring. I'm glad we ramble sometimes because together because ideas come out of it. Bye. Just like her bringing up tents, and I was like, oh yeah, tents. We don't have to wait till everything's perfect and we have bunches of tiny homes. Okay, have a great work day. Thanks for coming, guys. Thanks for the hearts. Thanks for the shares. I do too. I was so annoyed with Morgan yesterday for cutting off my rambling time. The reason I had to end suddenly, in case you weren't here at the beginning, is because Morgan couldn't find a dog leash. She knows better than to call me over and over like that, because it's, it worries me. Stupid phone. CaddyshackDesigns.com is where you can find me. Across the top at the website are all these tabs of things that I do. The next Desire Map workshop's coming up in January. January 5th is the last day to buy tickets for that. Hey, we could make that a Desire Map weekend. If you wanted to. That's an idea. Darn kids! But then I'd have to charge for it. And I don't know about that part. They know better no matter what the age. Yeah. Yes! What do you mean calling me for the damn dog's leash? I was on a roll. I was having fun. I was super annoyed. Okay. Have a good day. If you're going to work today, wherever you are today, say, let me see this differently. Let me see the world through the eyes of love. Let me see this person through the eyes of love. Show me what I can love about this person, and then let that expand. Look for the innocence. Have a wonderful day. So much love to you. So much love to you all. And I receive the love that you send me, and I love it. I thrive on it. It's a gift. The magic we make here every morning is a gift for all of us. Thank you. Thank you. Bye.